Welcome, all you soul-inspired beings out there. Welcome to day 19 of 55 Days of Christ Consciousness, inspired by the beautiful Christ Consciousness deck by Amanda Ellis, illustrated by Jane Delaford Taylor. Again, this is to support you connect with these energies that live within you, that you can access from your causal body. That's where the storehouse of these energies are believed to be. And they're within you. And as we take this journey together, whenever you come across these videos, it's timeless. And hopefully they support you along your soul journey and awakening to the Christ light that lives within you as you integrate these energies and these abilities and way of being, because it truly is, in my awakening process, it's a way of living. It's a way of living. And sometimes I like to refer to it as your soul inspired living from the heart, living from the highest version of yourself. Excuse me as I'm clearing something off here. And also being able to be the highest version of yourself among adversity and challenges in your life or others, and how you can be this sacred witness, this sacred observer, this neutriality of what's occurring in your body as you are ascending in consciousness, rising in vibration and frequency, and becoming more discerning as you connect to your heart, the heart of the earth, the heart of the heavens, and are fully aligned in your Christed being, and embodying that and what that means for you, and through healing, through forgiveness, through compassion, through self-care and love. And what is inspiring this card pull for today along our journey is our male counterparts and relationship to the mother wound. And what might you think or feel that I'm referring to the mother wound? And it has to do the way I'm seeing it. And we're focusing on our male men right now. But this doesn't mean it doesn't relate to you as a female, and wounding and forgiveness and the healing that comes through this. But there's something right now for many of us, it feels another level of healing has been brought to the surface to be transmuted and transfigured and brought back into the light and healed within you. And healed within you. So we're going to call on the Christ consciousness energies, and we'll go ahead and bring in the energy of Jesus Christ. Yeah, the energy of Jesus Christ. Master Jesus, also known as Lord Sananda. Oh, it smells so nice. We'll bring a little bit more energy of his in to assist in just embodying these qualities that are within you. And if you don't resonate with Jesus, you can pick another ascended master to support you along your journey that embodies the Christed qualities within themselves as well. Any ascended master will do, because they've all mastered 5-dimensional energies and above. Jesus laid the template for humanity. Okay. But there's many, many of us, and many more coming, that are remembering and learning how to embody their true self. As we integrate the Christ energies within us, because we are all integrating the Christ energies that live within us. And it's a very palpable, it can be potentially emotional time of our physical and spiritual growth as humanity is raising in consciousness in your individual aspect of source and oneness, as well as the collective. So we're moving out of duality consciousness and recognizing unity consciousness and one with all things. And as you integrate your I am presence and ignite the threefold flame within your heart center, which I feel is being ignited for many, many of you, perhaps even unknown to you of what the threefold flame is and represents. And it's that indigo, it's made up of three flames. At least that's how it's depicted. The indigo blue ray of divine will, masculine energy. And the pink ray, sometimes people refer to it as magenta, of the feminine ray that lives within you, the love. And as these weave together, they give us the violet flame, the violet ray of transmutation and freedom and transfiguration. And so much more when you master the violet flame. It can support you in the evolution and growth of you on a cellular level, in the transformation of your DNA, your 12-strand DNA. It can be used to transmute negative energy, or that negative polarity of energy, I'll say. And I just really invite you to just have an open heart with what we're talking about and take what you need and leave the rest. And perhaps something else will resonate with you sometime down the road. So meaning, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just because you perhaps don't resonate with it today. Tomorrow you might, or a year from now you might. But today we're talking about a deeper sense of healing, I'll say. I feel it's all deep. But the mother wound that resides within you, in the relationship that you had with your actual mother, and what wounds were brought forth within you that you perhaps are still carrying today. And how are those showing up and impacting the sacred woman that you are, or the sacred man that you are, that's limiting you from being in your divinity, because that imprint has been overlaid on you, and you're not, and perhaps unaware that it's the purity that wants to come in, and the transmutation, the healing that wants to occur for you. And it can show up in your one-on-one relationships with others. And in particularly right now, it feels important to talk about our male counterparts who the divine feminine is also raising in. And how might the Christ consciousness deck support us, support you during this time of expansion of your heart, your feminine energy, your love, come into harmony and bring in forgiveness so you can move out of suffering and move into empowerment and ascension, evolution, and recognize every single soul that has been in your life has supported you to get to this moment right here, right now within yourself. And to be in gratitude for that. And to be able to look at your past and heal your childhood within you in the way that it's being carried still, perhaps. That's limiting you from flourishing within yourself. So when I'm speaking to this particular wounding, what has come to the forefront of it, the energy, the nurturing, self-love, care, safety. Right. But bringing it in to your chakra system, your root chakra, your tribe. The first tribe you were born into is your family. Your sense of safety, your foundation, could be even ancestral healing, perhaps, coming through your feminine line, the matriarch side of your family. How might you transmute and purify within yourself on a cellular level, within the blood, within your emotions, and the water that runs through you, that ran through your mother, that ran through her mother? And if you're adopted, there were still these motherly roles that showed up for you on top of your DNA, but then the other woman and parent perhaps also brought in qualities and energetics for you. So it's kind of a little both and, right? But the release can be very similar. The healing can be very similar. How might you return to the sacred woman that lives within you? And return to the sacred man that lives within you? And as you, as a man, feeling troubled now at this really pivotal time of healing and transformation, how might you begin to remember the sacredness within yourself as you are seeking out nurturing and someone to care for you and love you, because you realize, and perhaps it's not even in your awareness, that you're not able to give it to yourself. And that's the greatest gift, for you to learn how to be sovereign in your self-care and self-nurturing and self-love, so that you may show up differently in your wholeness as you interact with your other relationships. The next time you have a romantic relationship with a woman, or maybe you're a partner of, okay, this applies to same-sex relationships too. But you may hear me refer more to the female and male body, because that does have an importance here. We can't change the body we were born into originally, okay? And this is not a criticism to those going through a transgender experience. I'd just like you to know that. Just pay attention to the energetics of what we're discussing here today, and how might the Christ consciousness deck, whatever card comes pulled for this topic, how might it support you walk your journey? Because you still have a mother wound, perhaps, if you aren't complete and found resolution within yourself. So let's move forward as we connect with this deck, the Christ consciousness deck of self-mastery. This is self-mastery. As you walk your journey, you have divine will. And how might you illuminate through love and the divine will of God that you are surrendering to in your own unique way, and integrating the highest qualities, support you with your mother wound and the relationships you have. Here's the card that has decided to leap out of the deck. Oh, this is the first time I'm seeing this card. Love thy neighbor, being of service. Interesting. Love thy neighbor, being of service. And then we have the spiritual protection card. I was drawn to pull this card. It's not going to be the primary card we read for today, but spiritual protection and armor of God is important. And I'm just going to leave this out for right now so I can see it. This is always important for those of us, really, I feel all of us, as we're going through this ascension process and here forward, to master the ability to keep your pillar of light activated, purified, and cleaned. You're always anchored to the heart of the earth, your heart centers, and the heart of the heavens, that they're always aligned. And your ability to transmute and transfigure through with the violet flame and bringing in the white ray of purity. And in your pillar of this it always stays pure, and only your energy gets to enter that space. Doesn't mean you won't feel other energies. You're becoming more discerning of other energies. And another aspect of protection is your armor of God. And this is very important, especially as we're going through, okay, love thy neighbor, before we get to the actual reading from the card, because those of you who have been following this little journey know that I will also read just intuitively and hear the guidance that comes through as well, and how it comes through my unique individualized higher self. Okay. Love thy neighbor, being of service. And what does this have to do with in relationship to the mother wound? And I'm just listening. Metatron and Jesus, what does this have to do with the mother wound that some people may be experiencing right now? And it feels like it sounds like it's twofold. I got to write while I do this. It's a little bit different today. Twofold. One, we're being reminded to be a sacred observer of not just yourself, but others going through this process, right? So while that is occurring, sometimes when people are going through a healing process and it's so, we'll say, subconscious, they're not even aware of it. And these emotions are coming up to the surface that are intense, and they perhaps have yet to build the skill set and awareness to go, wow, something's happening for me here. How do I work with this energy? How do I just observe it and let it and support it to be free of my body? Some people don't realize how to do that yet, and that's perfectly fine. But for those of you that are around someone else going through perhaps their dark night of the soul, and they don't know what's happening, their life is kind of turned upside down a little bit, and that has a divine purpose to it. So remember that. But how might you also stay within and manage your own energy, put on your armor of God, and to still be in service to that one you're witnessing going through this? Why is this important? Because, and we're just going to use men as an example right now. Women do this too. But this is what prompted this, is me witnessing some acquaintances of mine who were both men, and they were beginning to process their direct wounding from their relationships with their mothers. So that's what inspired this question. And what happens sometimes, because the sacral chakra is not in harmony in its 5-dimensional resonance yet, that they're seeking affection and nurturing and a safe harbor through the female relationships that they have. And so what people unknowingly do sometimes, consciously sometimes and unconsciously, subconsciously, they poured into someone that is perhaps the nurturer, that gives them a sense of foundation, that gives them a sense of love, and because they don't have the ability to show themselves that. And that's the exact wound they're working with, to keep it in a simple way, because it can get complex, okay? But the nurturing, the self-love that they were not experiencing from their mother, maybe they didn't have a mom, or different circumstances. You know what your circumstances are, and it can impact many things, not just your one-on-one relationships. So if you didn't have a sense of safety, and say you were manipulated with money or things like that, or resources, right? That can also affect your sense of safety and stability, like financially. It overlays an imprint, right? But that also overlays an imprint in how you relate to women in relationships. This is just an example. Not all women are this way. This manipulation with money, or manipulating emotions to paint pictures a certain way, right? And then, but you weren't getting nurtured, or maybe their focus was elsewhere, And while you as a child weren't getting really the nurturing that perhaps you hope to have gotten, or that everyone deserves to get, right? And this is not to put down mothers by any means. It's to recognize they too are a soul and had the a certain level of ability to offer you in their parenting. And they showed up for you, and perhaps sometimes there's contracts that come into play, and they showed up for you in the best way possible. And bringing it forward to you right now to do your work, to be able to give yourself self-love, nurturing, care, so you can show that to someone else and no longer seek it from someone else. And that's where the protection comes in, right? Because if you're unaware, you don't know how to do it for yourself, you're going to seek it out in someone, whether it's conscious or subconsciously, and you're going to cord into them and basically siphon their energy, right? So for those of you who are natural caregivers, and perhaps you are working with your own misqualified energies, I'll say, or trying to bring into balance your certain qualities that are beautiful to have self-care or to care for others, but we're not meant to care in the same way. Does that make sense? Where what throws you off balance, right? So be aware and discerning when someone is siphoning off of you. You have to have clear boundaries, is really what I'm saying here. Clear boundaries, always protection, so you can be in the truth of what is, because part of the armor of God is in your lasso of truth. Walk in peace, your breastplate, right? Your shield. So you can show up as the highest version of yourself in a time that when someone is in their struggle. So that way you don't get pulled into their own chaos. And you can support them either from a distance or with the tools necessary, or guide them toward where they need to be if they're open to being guided. Like perhaps nudged, and like maybe you need some professional assistance, right? You can't do the healing for them. You can't be their rock for them, their foundation in the sea, so to speak. So this brings me to love thy neighbor, right? Because people, you're going to witness people in their dark night, in their upheaval of their life, because that's going to wake them up to move. It'll be the catalyst, should they choose to step further into their path of light, into their ascension. So love them like a neighbor. And okay, so treat them how you would want to be treated, and still show care and love. And look at that card. It's that golden, like, and then there's that infinity symbol. It keeps going. The love just ebbs and flows back and forth, and you're surrounded in this golden light, and you're bringing illumination, right? Like you're showing kindness, you're showing love, you're showing forgiveness and compassion. And you're also surrounded by that beautiful violet light and always protected. So no, again, protection comes up very much right now in this particular cleansing and purification, right? Because of it feels like it's because of the intensity that can come up for some people. And also for women, how can you be, sometimes it's hard for us to see men vulnerable and crying, and it almost loses their masculinity, so to speak. And that's too is letting go of what masculinity is. What does that mean and how does it look? Because our men are emotional beings too, and they too are shedding their old selves so they can become the gentle man that lives within them. The gentle man that lives within them. And Joseph comes to mind right now. How might the father figure energy also support healing the mother wound and bringing in this higher guidance of care. We see someone here that looks more like potentially homeless or transient or living on the street of some kind. I do find it interesting, the shoes, as I'm looking here, because both parties are barefoot. And it's like, I'm going to share my shoes with you because you're always protected. You're going to share and know that you're always protected. And you, as a caregiver, always have what you need, but just make sure you're not over, right? You're not depleting and going out of the harmonics of your beautiful attribute, because this person too is learning how to receive in a more harmonic way. They're learning how to love themselves as well and be humble through their current circumstances, right? And meaning it's okay to receive support and ask for it, right? So that's part of too, like asking for it, like, gosh, this is what I need right now, and I'm struggling to ask for it. And that requires awareness. That requires an inner awareness. So let's see what the book has to say. And let me see, did anything else, Metatron, before we go to the book? No. Jesus, anything else before we go to the book? No. Okay, great. So we're going to read about the message in these cards from the book, and then see if there's any other support that wants to come through. And I keep hearing the energy centers, because there's a piece to this that impacts certain energy centers within your light body, not just the auric field of like emotion and physical, mental, and spiritual, but also your actual energy centers of the chakras. So we'll see how it goes. So first, the cards. So we'll do the protection one first. 139. And there's a piece to this too, that we hold men. Excuse me, I gotta get some water. I'm gonna pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. Thank you. I needed to clear my throat. Sometimes when I begin to speak, something's like it either is trying to stop me from speaking, or I'm kind of speaking like on the nose of something. On the nose of something, and it's yes. So there's this piece, and this goes for women as well. So don't feel like I'm just picking on men. That's not the purpose here. Go to your I am presence. Feel into the higher message here. Sometimes people use the act of sex as a way for nurturing and self-care and attention and whatnot. But it's not from the heart center. It's from the physical desire of the flesh and trying to fill the so-called hole within you, whatever's lacking within you. You're trying to fill it with something external, and in this case, sex. But it can also show up as food. It can show up as even distractions, with filling your time up with all these things instead of filling your own cup up with the light within you. Okay, so sometimes women and men will use sex and relationships as a way to feel and think and feel loved, nurtured, and cared for. But what they're not realizing, if you're at a certain level of your ascension process, what some people aren't aware of is that it's misqualified. It's out of harmony because whatever's within you has not been resolved yet into heart coherence and into your higher aspects. It's this remembrance to treat each other and yourself as sacred. And so when you share the beautiful act of sex with someone, you are uniting together your energies. Okay. And when it's from the heart, your relationships are from the heart, it takes on a whole nother experience. Because then you become more discerning on who you choose to be in sexual relationships with, and then who you choose that are your loving friends, right? Because you're it's all through love. It's all through love. And then you have your divine will, and then you have your choice, but you're more illuminated. It's like this whole emotional IQ as people refer to it. I was sitting here like, what's the term? Emotional IQ as people refer to it, right? It's coming in. So men and women are learning that it's not about the flesh of the body, right? Because some men are still in that place because they haven't resolved some things, or perhaps they learn this, that to be in a loving relationship means it's kind of that old saying that it's like the line, and I'll paraphrase it like, well, if a man tells a woman or boy, basically says, well, you have to show me that you love me, and it's through the act of sex, right? That was all shifting. Like, that has nothing to do with showing how you really love each other. That may be an expression and a connection you may share. Okay, so as you're going through this ascension process, the way we interact is evolving, and you are being asked to step up and evolve within your relationships. And most importantly, it's that relationship within you. But remember, there's something about witnessing someone going through this healing that we want to be able to treat them like our neighbor. And as I'm feeling, this is like to still show love and compassion. So it's very much about the observer of the other person right now, and observing yourself. It's a very Gestalt way of being, observing what's happening for you while you're witnessing someone else go through their own dark night of the soul or chaotic moment in their life, and they're trying to pull on you, right? So no, you are always protected. You are always protected in that. But you have free choice. You have to be discerning. So back to the deck. Card number 17. Or sorry, we're going to start with the protection. Card 39. I'm reading it by the page instead of the card number, excuse me. And I'm actually kind of surprised the way this read's going. I wasn't sure, didn't realize we were coming into the protection piece. But it's becoming more and more vital every day as our energetic centers we're more hypersensory, we're more heightened sensory people, perceptive. So spiritual protection, the armor of God. Walking in Christ consciousness is to hold the most powerful light within you that steers, protects, and it is a constant shield. It is not that you are invisible to darkness, but that it cannot penetrate or interfere with your energetic field. That in itself, I want to pause right there, is exactly why you ignite your pillar of light daily and your pillar and your armor of God daily. Because then you're not impacted by the chaos of outer forces anymore. You're in it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because my own experience in observing, I could feel these things and observing it, and then I was able to show up totally differently when I was with a couple acquaintances and having dinner. And I just prayed there and asked for my higher guidance, talking to my higher self, bringing it in. And all I could think about was Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. Energies come in, and to just be a safe harbor of love, bring in that aquamarine energy, bringing in the love energy, and just listen and use discernment and keep my field protected. And meaning I'm not going to engage in certain activities, certain jokes, I'm not going to engage in drinking. Anything that was going to potentially knock me off my center, I was not going to do. I chose not to do that in this moment. Right? So keeping my armor of God on, my protective shields on, and my heart was open. And I was doing everything out of integrity. Okay. So I'll continue. This light you carry can never go out or be vanquished. If we stay in our hearts and walk in the energy and follow the example of Christ. The template laid down is clear. At no point did Jesus either fear or succumb to any power that tried to subvert or derail him. Not when tempted or his lowest ebb, he always stayed true to the light within. It is now your job to honor this light, nourish it, and allow it to shine at full velocity, fearing nothing and knowing all is well. There's nothing that is stronger than the energy of the light, yet it is human to doubt in times of overwhelm by man's dark deeds and the evil fear that are in our world. Yet we're not defenseless or naked and vulnerable to those who seek to deceive or manipulate or do harm to us. We are given assurance that we will be looked after. We are given, look at even here, right? We're given assurance that we are looked after, even though we're talking about the armor of God card. I'll hold them both up, but they relate. We're given assurance. Let me find my place again. Assurance that we are looked after as good, as good. Father, as a good father looks after his children. This does not mean that no difficult can befall on us. It simply means God will always have our back. Sometimes bad things happen, but knowing that nothing can defeat you, that you are stronger than any attack or injustice is vital to remember. If we look at the story of Jesus and his disciples, they suffered persecution, yet the inner courage and steadfastness is a key feature to all their journeys, where they maintain their light to the very end, since even death cannot destroy that. Even death cannot destroy that. As well as walking in light, you are also given the armor of God, 6 pieces of energetic holy equipment. Energetic holy equipment, because you are holy, with deep symbolism that can be put on daily to aid you and protect. The 6 pieces are, and you should remember this or write it down and or Google it, because there's slightly different variations, but it all is the armor of God. The helmet of salvation, awakening in parentheses, the breastplate of righteousness, the belt of truth, the shield of faith, the sword of the Spirit, and sandals for feet that walk in peace. So when you go into places with that, how beautiful is that? And how powerful is that as it helps you stay in your light and fully protected and staying in your presence, in your I am presence. In the morning, ask for Jesus or your higher self. Place this upon you, feeling the resonance that comes via putting on each piece. With your armor on, you then get on with your day. Mindful of what you give attention and energy to, understanding that we can attract what is in our thoughts. It is therefore unhealthy to fret or invest too much time toward the external dark energies, since you give them power by believing them so. Because remember, we're energy first, and then it comes into manifest form, physical form. Staying around positive, good people, energies, and situations is also a way of protecting ourselves. Think about all the things that you surround yourself with and ask, are they healthy? Excuse me, are they healthful, life affirming, and helpful, or are they draining, toxic, and negative? So when you're in your shield and stuff, you'll feel some of these things and you'll be able to discern more and go like, okay, I get to move out of this situation, right? So even like my dinner, I chose to just, okay, I'm done, moved it along, and then I was complete and left before things got funky. And then taking ownership of your environment, who is with us, and what we do makes us accountable to what we allow into our space. Staying pure in heart, seeing the divine in others, okay? Seeing the divine in others, practicing the tenets of Christ consciousness, all raise our vibration. The most effective protection there is, and one that will never fail you. So the more you embody your Christ-like qualities, they will not fail you. You will always be protected. And I share this through experience in my own embodiment of these qualities. And I'm proven again and again, every time I walk into a situation or I'm surrounded by other people and I connect to my highest guidance available, keeping my heart open, keeping myself grounded into the earth, into the heavens above, universal light, then I'm always shown the way. I'm always shown how to show up better. And I have my divine will, and I could choose to leave and not engage or put myself in a position that is not the best for myself. And I could do it with grace, right? I could do it with grace and respectful, and not feeding into the potential wounds of others. Okay, or their potential like net they're trying to cast it over or trying to cord, right? So again, sometimes it's conscious, other times it's subconscious. They don't realize they're doing it. But you will build this discernment, you will build this energetic field, your pillar of light. Your pillar of light, because that's what this feels like to me too. It's very complementary to your pillar, your 12-dimensional shield and pillar of light. I often use both of these and other techniques, and you will develop your own as you go. But do it daily in the morning, and I do it again at night before I go to sleep, because the soul travels at night. Okay, so I encourage you, do it in the morning and then do it again when you go to bed at night. And you can always charge it up again in the midday or something if you need to. Eventually you'll get to a point where it happens so quickly. Okay, so now with the love thy neighbor, being of service. Okay, being of service, and that's card number 17. My dog is tired. Love thy neighbor, being of service. And let's see if I can read it a little more clearly than I did the armor of God. To be there for each other, to see every person as a member of the soul tribe is one of the highest expressions of Christ consciousness. Every day we can choose not to be the one to talk, every day we can choose not to be the one to walk on by, but to do our bit to alleviate suffering. We cannot solve all the world's problems, of course, and we are not supposed to become a burden by them, but simply to do what we can when we notice and are able to. It can be in the simplest act and does not have to be about giving anything more than our attention or presence. Stopping to smile and acknowledge and talk with a homeless person is just as important as the aspect of giving something material. There, but for the grace of God go I. That was in quotations. Is a useful adage to remember. We can all, through a separate set of circumstances, be the person who has lost their job, be in pain, be the outcast, or be the penniless addict. To see within the soul of one who suffers as an opportunity to show love, and it is what is important. To show love is what is important. Not to shun or turn away, but to be the one who asks, how may I serve you? Knowing too that what you give and do through each interaction serves you also. To see in the beggar, the refugee, the beaten woman, a chance to be like Jesus and do as he would. And to exhibit the same care for yourself also. Living in a world where so many have so much, but where others have so little is a great imbalance. It may be that you are asked to stop and give thanks for the warm home, fresh water, safety, and comfort that you have around you. Now, conversely, it may also be that it is you who seeks another's kindness, having fallen on tough times, not knowing how to cope or what to do. You may need words of encouragement, whether from a stranger in the street or a dear friend who knows you well. And I know for me, I've been on both ends of that coin. And I'm sure many of you have as well. And you always remember the kindness people show you. And it could be from any age. It doesn't have to be just as an adult. It can be from any age. I remember my brother and I ran into someone we went to junior high with years later, right? Years later, we're all young adults. And she stopped to say hi to us both. And she shared this with us, that if it was have been other people, she would have just kept walking. And we're like, oh, really? She's like, yeah, you guys were always nice to me. Because she was awkward in her junior high stage, as many of us are. And she's like, no, you guys always said hi to me and you were always nice to me. So that kindness, you don't know how your act of kindness and being who you are in kindness and love, how that may impact someone's day in such positive ways you have no idea. Just acknowledging somebody. Just acknowledging someone, because I'm sure on many levels, all of us can think about a time when we were ignored, right? And think about that. If we're talking about a mother wound, when did we first be ignored? When did that start being acceptable? We started to have to learn how to accept that's what it was and is, and how do I overcome that? And part of that is to do to others as you would do to yourself. Begin to acknowledge the people in your life. Doesn't mean you have to get over sucked in, remember, but you're always protected and your kindness spreads. When you're kind to yourself, you can be kind to others, and you're kind to others, people will kind to you. If you begin to see others that you normally turn away from because you're recognizing and seeing yourself, your own discomfort, and you're overcome that, and you begin to open yourself to others, others begin to see you as well. It's both and. It's both ends. So I continue. Human need comes in so many forms. It may be mental, physical, practical, or all three. But where there is need, there's an opportunity to do good for our fellow neighbor and be there for each other. For no one is an island. We all need each other, and it is important to remember that many find it hard to ask for help. And that is so true. This may also be true for you. Being on the lookout for those in need of assistance is good, is God's love in action. From those helping in community centers to simple acts of kindness that show you value one in front of you, that show you value the one in front of you. Buying the meal for someone who's hungry, sitting with the child alone, who's ostracized at school, noticing the old person alone every day, or visiting the grieving friend. It is you who are in need, but be open. Or if it is you that is in need, be open and ask for help, anticipating that good people will respond, and not be too proud to accept charity or their support and aid. Allow yourself to receive if you are in need. It's okay to ask for help. Let love in. There's plenty, people generally often want to help. Okay. In addition, you are thankful for the times you have been generous in thought, word, and deed. The prayers offered, the effort you put into helping another. It may be also that this card is encouraging you in the charitable efforts, working for humanitarian organizations, providing meals to the elderly, donating to a worthy cause. Every done deed is noticed, and every gesture and act of assistance is needed in a world crying out for love. You are thanked for all you give and how you serve in all that you are. In all that you are. Because you are both those people. You are both those people. Because what is in one is in the whole. What is in you is in me. What is in me is in you. We are no longer separate from each other anymore. You're waking up to these truths. And how can you be loved through it all and know that you are always protected? And there's this infinite love. It's infinite, and you're always illuminated and protected. And protected. And it's a both and. So how, oh yeah, I just got tingles. Nice. I love when I get the tingles. I'm just listening and waiting. We're doing the energy centers. It's like the Oracle 7 centers. Where's this one? No. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna pull a card from the Oracle 7 by illustrated, okay, by Colette Baron Reed. Oracle of the 7 energies. So it's working with your primary 7 chakras, I'm assuming, but there's more, vastly more in here. But we're also learning through Christ consciousness, we're harmonizing our energetic centers, and there's more than just 7. Give me a second while I open the box. For some reason, I struggle to open this particular box. All right, so what's the question, Jesus? What's the question? Okay, which energy, we're asking for which energy center or centers perhaps need harmonization. So with harmonization comes healing, purification, transmutation, illumination. Okay. Many of the rays work together in healing. It's not just one. Okay. So how many cards? Oh, all right, there's one. What else? All right. Anything else? Okay, so this might be a longer reading than I had anticipated. So we'll see where it goes. A merry motive jumped out first as an energy center. And you guys maybe notice I haven't been writing descriptions down in the YouTube blogs. Sometimes I just don't have the energy to do it. But you can follow along in the transcript. Oh, wow. Okay. And then in perfect harmony, saying beyond, endless possibilities. This is very interesting. Wish upon a star. Beyond the ordinary. Wow, I had no idea this many cards jumped out of the deck. Beyond the ordinary. And exposed and revealed. Okay, exposed and revealed. What does this have to do with the mother wound and protection and what we've been talking about, because we've been talking about a lot of different things, right? Because it's both and. How would you treat others and yourself? So Mary motive, I'm going to just sit with these cards for a second and see how they want to connect together with what centers and qualities we're working with. Because with our energy centers, even the Christ consciousness energies can be depicted as directly related to your energy centers of the body. Okay, sometimes it's easier to work with them that way, one at a time. But just know the chakra centers and these Christ consciousness, they live within your entire system, and it acts ultimately as one whole unit together. In learning, we break things down, sometimes one thing at a time, but these energetic qualities and rays of light, it's like a synthesizer, like, right, they're raising and lowering, but they're in harmonics. They're always in perfect harmony, especially when you are learning how to use them and be them. When you embody it, you become the harmonics in balance, right? And so thinking about your lower chakras from your solar plexus down is how we navigate the earthly plane. We're receiving information all the time. And then you're now learning an upgraded way of operating with those centers, meaning not through trauma anymore, not through fear or doubt. You're in trust, you're solid footing, you're in harmony with the universe and the planet and all that is in your body, in your soul, in your heart. So harmonics, you're coming into perfect harmony. But to get through the perfect harmony that we're leading toward, and you're seeing in your mind's eye and connecting to through your I am presence, the healing must occur. All the old cellular memory must leave the body. And that's what's coming up for us. So even the old wound, you're healing it. You're healing it, and you're transmuting it, transfiguring it, and bringing light to it and illumination. Right? You're bringing that, you're going beyond the superficial layers, you're going beyond the pain, you're going beyond the suffering, because you're choosing harmony instead. You're choosing harmony instead. And then there's this Mary motive, right? Hold on, it's not that way. You're beyond the ordinary. It's interesting, and seeing beyond them. And it's interesting. So endless possibilities. You're seeing beyond. Yeah, because you're recognizing as you step further into this, the possibilities of your growth are endless and infinite. The possibilities of your latent abilities, your essence, your divine being, your higher aspect, that opens the next key to toward your enlightenment, toward your evolutionary stages within the self and the dimensional frequencies, right? You're recognizing all the possibilities of the universe that live within you as you manifest in physical form, and to be in Mary motive. When I'm looking at this Mary motive, there's so many. There's golden light, there's fire, you're igniting this creative fire within you. I'm almost thinking of like when described as the Kundalini energy rising within you, but it's really this energy that naturally rises within you as you embody your Christ consciousness energies. You don't have to force it. So many people misguidedly relate it to sex, and it has nothing to do with the act of sex. It's an energetic level of that begins to rise within you as you are harmonizing and healing your being. It's power, it's energy, and you got to anchor it in to the body as it rises up within you, as your sacred secretion, your Christ-like, your third eye begins. Literally, your body creates a secretion, and they meet, and it runs in and through the body. And you can look up more about that right now. That's a whole nother video in the components of the physical body and third eye. Because you're being anointed. Remember, your Christed self is like you're being anointed. And so when you're baptized, it's a symbolism of what your body it will go through and ascend into higher consciousness. And so think about your motive, I would say. Remember the joy, right? It's all sparkly, it's magic, because you are magic, but you must use it with integrity and the highest good. And there's almost these like sparkling, like fireflies or fairies. And then there's a little world of light blue, like blue energy. Like to me, that reminds me of our divine will, our masculine energy. We have the healing ray, the green, the emerald green in there, and then gold and that illumination. And then we have like some fire here too. And it's almost orange, right? Allow Archangel Metatron to support you in healing any trauma with that beautiful color orange. It can be burned away in the fire. Burned away in the fire. And then it's almost like your light is hanging on this clothespins, right? It's like you're on the clothespins kind of ringing out, because you're bringing light to your life and you can see it. You're starting to see it and you're learning how to alchemize it. You're learning how to transmute it, transfigure it, and release it back into the light. And it harmonizes within your body as you come into your perfection, your harmonics. Okay, because you're going beyond the ordinary. It's beyond the ordinary because you've forgotten how to do this, but your soul remembers how to do this, and things are going to be like potentially get a little strange, but it's really not strange. I find it that life just gets more exciting and magical, and being like, wow, the universe does listen when I'm reminded here of, I pulled a few cards earlier for myself. And it was Archangel Zadkiel reminding me to be in the flame of transmutation, the violet fire. Carry that flame with you to transmute everything array, right? To transmute, bring that higher light to it. And then Archangel Mariel reminding me to work with pure love. Work with pure love with everything that I do for the highest good. For the highest good. And Zariel, Archangel Zariel, give and receive love. And that's directly related to what we were talking about. Give and receive love. And it's not just to others, it's to you too. Right? And obey spiritual laws. As you go through your life now, and from this moment forward, or wherever you're at in your soul growth, your ascension, your consciousness raising and vibration raising, to walk this world with the violet flame and knowing that's there. That's the balance of your divine, that's part of your I am presence, your threefold flame, your divine will, the blue indigo, and your love, flame of love. And with that, you can also bring in the illumination of something as you transmute, right? And this card reminds me of illumination as well as this golden light. It's swirling around the fire. But that's what this reminds me of. And the possibilities become endless. Because you're going beyond the ordinary of what you know. Your third eye is being activated in your perceptions and understanding the deeper knowing. You may not fully understand mentally, but look at all this cosmic energy bursting out of you, swirling in, through, and around you. And here again, we have the purple, the blue, the greens, the golds, the golden orange, the aqua. But look at this person is so at peace with it. So at peace. He's like, it looks like he's self-hugging, embracing himself. Yeah, and all that energy coming out through her, even through the heart and the lower chakras, everything's lit up, but it's all being come out through this cosmos. And because we are fed so much information, and allow yourself to go beyond what you think you know, and let it come through your energetic centers. Through your energetic centers, there's a well of information there, right? Some of you are purifying your sacral, root, and solar plexus chakras with this current level of healing on another level that you haven't been before. That's why, for some of you, that sacred wounding, mother wounding, is coming to the surface, and it's time for you to let go of what you didn't get and to learn how to give that to yourself, to forgive and to love and raise above it and go beyond, see beyond what you think you know also, because you don't know everything about perhaps your parents as a human being and a soul level. Connect I am to I am presence and ask for a higher guidance to come through to illuminate the discordant energy within you as you transmute it. Okay, as you transmute it, you're working with spiritual laws and love from the highest good possible, from the highest place available, from the highest good. Is it for your highest good? And when you reconcile it and come into heart coherence, the emotions no longer limit you. You can move forward and you heal the discordant energy that was laid into you, and you've transmuted it and you brought in the energy of love, your divine blueprint. And with that in itself will release and offer the potential healing for other people when that soul is ready to heal. Because you can't force someone else, but what happens, it releases it as you do your own healing. It impacts others to do theirs as well. And it softens it. Sometimes it can be immediate, other times it can take a little longer. And again, you're being reminded the possibilities are endless. And to wish upon a star, okay, there's this wish upon a star. So perhaps you need to wish upon a star for yourself in your own healing, because things are being exposed and revealed to you right now on so many levels. And you perhaps it's time to just wish upon a star to help in the guidance, maybe. But what else is this? Wishing upon a star, Metatron, what else is this? She's holding this wish, this light, this star. And it's the 5-pointed star. It reminds me of the Star of David, the elements. Yeah. The harmony that can live within you, your connection to the ethers, the universe. And there's also like wings coming off of her arms. So it's like this piece to you, remembering who you are and remembering your essence. And you go into your heart center, you go into your light, right? The light that she's holding through the star. You go to the heavens and you bring that wisdom back down. You bring that wisdom back down, and more will be revealed to you and exposed to you. But be open that it's not going to be an ordinary answer that you're used to. It's going to be the one that takes you beyond the human experience and into your higher self with higher vision and clarity. And then you bring that down into the physical and make your choices from your I am presence. Anything else? Anything else in these possibilities? Masters, anything else from these decks? This deck here. Oh, yeah, because it leads you back to perfect harmony. Thank you. Is that it? Yes, all right. It leads you back to perfect harmony, harmonics, harmony of the spheres, your energetic centers, harmony of the spheres of the earth's, the universe, the planets. It's what is in one is in the whole. When you harmonize, you help harmonize the planet, you help harmonize the universe, in everything back into its rightful place, and you into your rightful place. So that's all I have for you this evening. I have to get to bed and rest. Much love to all of you. Have a really blessed week. I hope you enjoyed this reading and found it supportive in some ways. Feel free to ask questions, or if you want more guidance on something that's said during this reading, let me know. And because when I hear from you, that also tells me what information may be needed and wanted by some of you. And I can circle back to a topic and bring more maybe insights and guidance for you in a topic. All right. I'm Gina Levito, Soul Inspired Reflections. Much love to all of you. And know you're always protected, and you're coming into harmony one choice at a time, and with an open heart and love.